Okay, I thought it would be useful for you to see how I evaluate drafts of the resume so that you know what you're getting into when I eventually grade your resume. So what I have done is I have taken two resumes from previous 318 classes and I have changed the names and identifying data so that you cannot recognize these people. But they were drafts for one of my 318 classes. And I'm just going to go through this and show you what I'm looking for. As you'll see on the screen, I have Jane Doe's resume. And Jane Doe was in nursing school and she wanted to get a job as a nurse. And so this is her resume. And she has an accompanying cover letter, but we won't get to that today. So I'm going to go through the grading criteria on this resume. Now, this will match the discussion of the job search rhetorical situation. In other words, I'm going to be looking at three kinds of readers here. And the first kind of reader is what's called the scan reader. Will this resume pass the scan test? The next one is the matching reader, and how well does this person match herself to the job of a nurse? And the final reader is the image reader. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look for is, does this pass the scan test? Now you'll notice, as you'll see, this does have, if you look at it quickly, you can scan the key things. Now if you look at this, the first thing that comes up are the job titles. And as I scroll through this resume, this is what you see very easily. You see nursing assistant, you see bartender, you see bartender waitress, personal care assistant, and then supervisor personal care assistant again. These things stand out. Okay, you can scan that. However, there is a problem with the visual hierarchy here, because we have the dates up here. The dates interfere with the scanning, and then we have where this person did it up here, and it's really hard to see. And it's really hard to see where the person did this work. And then the bulleted list is in a parallel line. Well, it is parallel to the nursing assistant and to the date. So this, even though it's easy to see the job titles, everything else is jumbled. In other words, it's hard to pull out anything else. Now what you do to fix that, I'm going to go over to the resume instructions. Okay, and here, as you see, is the grading criteria, but I'm going to move up, and I'll see if I can move this over a little bit more. Okay, I moved this over, and I wanted to show you what a visual hierarchy is, or hanging indents. Hanging indents is what's called, the outline function. Now here, see how many ways you can read this section. Okay, and it's easy to read because you have Ohio University first, and then you have a hanging indent under teaching assistant, and then you have a bulleted list. If you want to scan this, you'll see Ohio University teaching assistant, and that person did a lot. That's one way. Or you can read Ohio University Department of Aviation Technology teaching assistant in these dates, and that person did a lot. Or you can read it all together. Now this hanging indent is much like the Buddy McCormick memos, because it allows you to read it various ways. It allows you to scan it really quickly and pick up what you want. But when you do this across the resume, have the same format, the readers will quickly learn your organization and be able to scan, match, or fit you. And so this is what I'm suggesting that Jane Doe, I suggest that she do that in her resume. And how she should do that is she should take this margin all the way over. In fact, she should take this margin here, if I can get my computer to do that all the way over, pull this over, and then that would allow her to indent that under, pull that up. This I would take and put on the next page and then unbold it. And that would give her the start. Looks like that didn't unbold. So why it's not unbolding. Anyway, that would give her a start. And so I would take all of these columns over, and then that would give her the ability to indent under her her job qualifications, and then you could take, whoops, I'd lost it. And then you could take the other information and pull it to the side. So you go like that, and it's not going to do it. Okay, she's got this hard-coded into a Word file that's going to force her to document it this way. Okay, I had to do this offline, but as you see, I took some time to put this resume in a really good visual hierarchy where you've got the job title first, hanging indent is where she worked, and then here are her job qualifications. The dates are over here. I need a space there to the present. Now you'll see that some people say to pull the dates out here. You know, that makes the resume look cluttered to pull it out there. And the dates are not as important as the job titles and where you worked. And so what you need to remember with a resume is that top left is most important, and it's least important as you go to the bottom right. So everything that's top left needs to be the most important thing. So you'll see this section is much more scannable than the way it previously was. So she needs to change all of these sections. Every section that happens after that she needs to change. Okay, so we've looked at the scanning, and it was a little bit scannable, but the only thing that was scannable before I revised it was the job title, were the titles, and so she needed to rework that to make it visual hierarchy. Now let's go to the match. How well does she match herself to the to getting a job in a hospital as a nurse? And she has the same issues that many of you have, in that you don't quite have the experience to match yourself. But let's see what she does. Let's look at her list. Let's look at her content. She's got the first section, the biggest section, is a nursing assistant, and that's perfect because she's showing that she's matching herself right there. And then she's got two sections as a bartender, and then down here personal care assistant, and then supervisor personal care, which I don't know where she did that. Maybe it was an American. Oh, it was probably right here. That's right. It looks like that's supposed to be together. Now, if you look at the way this is matched here, she worked probably 2 years here, and 2 years there, and 2 years here. I think for her to better match herself, I wonder if she could reduce these two sections, because she repeats herself right here. It shows that she works hard, and that's fine, but here she's doing some medical work, and down here she's doing some medical work. So if possible, try to expand this section here and try to reduce this section, which will show that she's trying to match herself to the job. Now she has her education all the way down here. Putting your education down there is more in line with what people who have been in the workplace are more commonly do. I would suggest you still put it back up here at the front right before experience. That's what's common for students who are just graduating. Now this needs a lot of formatting here. She needs to essentially take this section and make it parallel with what I did here. And she can either have her degree first up here, and then New Mexico State under here, or New Mexico State first, but she needs to put it in a visual hierarchy and format. Now, to better match herself to the job, I would list if she has projects she's done as a nursing. I would also list anything else that directly relates to the nursing. You'll see here that she has has an associate degree in nursing. That's hidden all the way down there. And then she has a graduate of practical nurse program. That's hidden here. And she doesn't even have her New Mexico State University. So she needs to put her New Mexico State University first. The most present or the most recent goes first in the visual hierarchy, and then she needs to put that she was a graduate of these nursing degrees, and the qualifications she needs to put up here. So I would take both these sections. She has them formatted using the table function that's hard to work with. Take both these sections, education, qualification, move them up before experience, highlight that she has an associate's degree in nursing, and she's gone through the practical nursing degree. That's how she better matches herself. Now, if we look at the image here, what kind of image do we get of this person? This to me is a pretty typical student. I was the same way. She's actually, you can tell she's a hard worker. Doing these two things, bartender, waitress, means she's worked hard. You could tell she's been interested in nursing for a long time. One thing I just noticed is, let's see, when did she do this? Oh, this was earlier. Yeah, it is in descending order. This is the most recent first. What kind of person is she? She's a caring person. You look at this here. She assists an adult. She's a personal care assistant here. She's probably pretty social because of the bartender and waitress. Does she look technically smart? Interesting question. Where did she get her registered nurse? These are our qualifications for the nursing. I'm wondering if she could bolster her education to make her appear that she's smarter. Just an interesting question. So she comes across as a social person, invested in the medicine area. She's probably has some experience in nursing, knows what she's getting into. How capable, how smart is she? We're not sure. What kind of team player is she? Well, we're not sure. Okay, this seems a little bit individualistic. Okay, I have taken this resume through the 3 critiques based on the job search situation, the 3 Prios critiques. And as you see, it is a draft, and it has a lot of work to do. I would not recommend using the word table function. You can see in the light blue that these are all cells, and she's going to have to move every one, unless she can get them all to move at once. This really, sometimes it's hard to work with cells, but if you want to do that, that's fine. I thought I would go through this more quickly, but I'm only going to critique Jane Doe's resume. But the same kind of analysis and critique that I go through here, I will go through when I grade your resume, and it's the same kind of critique that I want you to do with your peers. So when your peers post their resumes, I want you to go through the same Prios analysis and grading. So please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.